Welcome back to 19th video of this Java programming series. In this video, we will discuss basic 5 interview questions in Java. Uh, this playlist actually comprised of basic Java concepts till now, till 1 to 18th video were basic Java concepts. So in between, we have decided to add few videos that focuses on interview questions in Java, so that we can best understand the concepts, and we can side by side we can prepare for interviews also. So this video we will discuss 5 interview questions that is based on Java. So the first question: why is Java platform independent? Right. So before explaining these 3 points, let me tell you something. What is the procedure to run a Java code without an Eclipse IDE? We will write a Java code in a notepad file, save that file as uh, file name, I mean class name dot Java extension, and then we will open command window and type the command java c space filename dot java. So immediately after entering that command, Java compiler will convert that Java file to a dot class extension file. So that a dot class file is nothing but a bytecode. So this is the second point. A class file is nothing but a bytecode that will be understood only by Java virtual machine. So it can be only run in Java virtual machine. Right. The concept is, after compiling this Java file to class file, that Java file will also exist. In addition to that, that class file, that is bytecode file, will also exist. We can just copy that bytecode to a pen drive and paste it in another system that contains a different operating system. Say, if I am compiling this Java code in a Windows machine, taking that class file or bytecode to a pen drive and pasting it in another machine that contains an Ubuntu Linux operating system, but that Ubuntu Linux has Java runtime environment, that is JRE or JVM inside it. That bytecode will produce the same output that produced in Windows machine also, which means we can write the code once, and in any platform, I mean we can write the code once in any platform, copy that bytecode alone to any other platform, we can run it. So this feature is called as write once and run anywhere, WORA. So this is why Java is platform independent. It can this Java's bytecode can is capable of running in any platform, since it actually depends on JVM and not the platform. So this is our answer to first question. Hope it is clear. So why is Java is not pure object oriented language? Right. So when we take Python programming language, everything in Python is considered as object. Even if we have a variable named a equal to 5, that a will be considered as an object. A equal to school string variable, that a will be considered as an object. So in Python, everything is considered as object. A list, a data type, anything, everything in Python is considered as object. So we can have this in one side. And now we will come into Java. Integer, caps I, integer and caps S string is a class. String can store a string value, integer can store an integer value. These are classes supported in Java. But int, byte, etc. are primitive data types. So these are not classes actually. These are data types, and hence it is not. There is no object involved in this int, byte, etc. So this is why Java is not pure object-oriented language. But when it compared to Python, in Python even this integer variable, byte variable, whatever it may be, that will be considered as object. That will be object actually. But in Java, things like this are classes, and hence if we need to access some string, we need to create object for this class. But if we need to create an integer, we will not create any, I mean if we create an integer int variable, we will not create an object for this int. We will directly allocate memory. So these are primitive data types, and so these are not classes, and hence no object is involved. And this is the reason why Java is not pure object oriented language. Right. This is an interesting and important question that will be frequently asked in almost every Java interviews. Does Java supports pointer, and why? The answer is Java does not supports pointer like C and C++. This is first point. So what is the reason? Security reasons. So what is the exact security reasons why that prevented Java from being supporting pointers? So what is a pointer? A pointer uh, is a variable that can hold memory address of another variable as per C and C++ definition. So simply pointer allow programmer to access hardware memory directly with the help of programs. When we write such code, we cannot assure that we will write a code without any error or without any bug and the code will be 100% perfect. There will be some bugs here and there, maybe or may not be. Whenever it happens some bugs in code that access memory, it may tend to overwrite memory address of some other programs. For example, I am writing a C program. It accesses memory, for example, 0 to 100. But when I try to write a code and there was a bug in a code, and due to that bug, the memory address points to the memory address. I mean, the memory address is pointed to 1000 instead of pointing from 0 to 100. It is pointing to 1000, where the memory address of 1000 is holding an important file that is very much needed for an operating system to run. So here in this case, it is highly risky. When this bug actually executes, the memory address 1000 will be overwritten. Once overwritten, the very important file that is related to operating system will be overwritten, and hence system is may tend to crash. So this is actually one example security reason or security effect that may happen while pointers are used. So this is why pointer is not supported in Java, and allocating memory and deallocating memory are taken care by garbage collector in Java. So there is no need for pointers itself. So this is the reason why pointer is not supported in Java. So when the answer to the question, does Java supports pointer? No. So fourth question, what is special about J80, that is just-in-time compiler? So this is not a normal compiler. Just-in-time compiler will take an advantage of similar codes. I mean, parts of bytecode that are similar. For example, we have a big code. We can split it into part A, part B, part C, part D, and part D, part E. Part A and part C are similar in case if part A and part C are similar. This just-in-time compiler takes part A and part C and compile at the same time to reduce entire compilation time. So this is special about just-in-time compiler. Right. So fifth question is quite big. If I do not provide any arguments on the command line, what will be the value stored in the string array passed into main method? Either it is empty or null. So the answer is empty but not null. Uh, but the thing is, we need to understand how and why. So first of all, what is that command line argument? So command line argument is nothing but when we try running a Java code in command line with the help of CMD window, first we will compile using java c space filename.java, then followed by we will use java space filename to access that bytecode, I mean that dot class file, to run this code. So when we try giving java space file name space some string values, these are the command line arguments. So the question is about that command line. So whenever I didn't give any command line argument, So that command line argument will be captured by this args variable, that is string array. So whenever I didn't give any command line argument, their question is what will happen to this args variable, whether it is empty or not. I mean whether it is empty or null. It is empty but not null. That is the answer. To justify this answer, I have created a code. So whenever we run a code with the help of an IDE like Eclipse, we are not giving command line argument by default. So when running this code in Eclipse IDE, we assume that we don't give any command line argument, and hence the answer we get for this code is the answer that we get for this question. I have given a string array, string array variable named names and allotted null for this. There is a reason I will let you know. In the system.out.println statement, I have first printed the string array variable that is by that is given null by the programmer. And the second one is args. Args is not initialized or modified anywhere in this code. It is nothing but the command line argument. So to show the difference between a string array that is allotted with null and a string array that is given as command line argument, I have given names here. So names is actually given null. While running this code, the first point we are getting is null. So when a string array variable is null, the output must be null actually. But when we try to print args string array, instead of null we are getting some hexadecimal or some values inside that. So when we try to access args of 0, args of 1, we will get something, but since it is empty, we will not get that. But the point to note here is args is not displayed as null. Instead, it is displayed with some value. So which indicates that it is not null actually, it is empty. So answer to our question is, whenever a command line argument is not given by the user, it will be empty. I mean a string array args memory will be created, memory will be allotted, but it will be empty. Only when we give command line argument, that memory will be utilized. So I think these 5 questions is useful for you to prepare. You can expect many interview question videos down the line. In addition to this interview questions, we will focus on Java basic concepts also, and this interview type of questions also. In case you have any queries, you can leave comment below. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting us.